Hi everyone, Tom here from Front End Beginners, and in this video we'll look at how to make one flex item full width using CSS Flexbox. Let's begin by creating our parent flex container. Beneath my header here, I'll create a div with a class of container. In my CSS, I'll target this container class and set its display property to flex. This now becomes our parent flex container. I'm also going to give the container a max width of 1200 pixels and centralize it using a margin of 0 auto. Just to make it more visible on the page, I'm also going to give it a border of 2 pixels solid black. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to create 5 flex items. Inside my flex container, I'll create a div with a class of flex item, and then just give it some dummy text of item 1. I'll then copy and paste this flex item 4 more times and update the text in each so that we have 5 individual flex items. Just to make our flex items stand out a bit more, I'll target the flex item class in our CSS and give them a background color of light grey and some padding of 2 rem on all sides. As we can see in the browser, we now have 5 flex items laid out side by side inside our parent flex container along the default row direction. To visually separate our flex items further, I'm going to apply a gap value of 5 pixels to the parent flex container. Our flex items now have a 5 pixel gap between them. Let's imagine that we only want flex item number 2 to be the full width of the parent flex container, while our other flex items remain at their original sizes. To do this, in our HTML, let's first give flex item number 2 an additional class of full width. Next, in our CSS, we'll target this full width class and set its flex basis to 100%. When working in the row direction, flex basis determines the initial starting width of a flex item before flex grow or flex shrink is applied to it. If you're working in the column direction, flex basis will affect the height of a flex item rather than its width. By giving one of our flex items a flex basis of 100%, we're telling that item to change its initial starting width to 100% of the parent flex container, rather than its default width, which is determined by the content it contains. If we look in the browser, we'll see that item 2 has increased in size, but that it's not yet 100% of the width of the parent container. By default, when creating a flex container, its flex wrap value is set to no wrap. This means that all child flex items are forced onto a single row and are not allowed to wrap beneath onto a new row. If we want item 2 to be the full width of the parent container, it needs to exist alone on its own row so that it can take up all of the available width along that row. Otherwise, the other flex items around it prevent it from expanding to 100% wide. To allow our flex items to move onto separate rows, we need to set the flex wrap property on our parent flex container to wrap. As we can see in the browser, item 2 is now able to expand to full width, and the other flex items are positioned out of its way on separate rows. If I decrease the width of the browser window, we can see that item 2 remains full width, but is able to shrink down as the size of the parent flex container decreases. Now that one of our items is full width, we can justify the other items as normal using the justify content property on our parent flex container. For example, if we wanted all of the other items to be in the horizontal center, we'd simply need to apply a justify content value of center on the parent Flex container. Because item 2 is full width, its position along the row cannot be changed because it has no room into which it can move. Only the non-full width items are affected. Just to demonstrate this further, let's try a couple more justify content values. For example, we can change this from center to flex end so that all of our items are positioned to the end or the right hand edge of our container. Or we could use space between so that there's space between each of our flex items. Finally, if we wanted to make another of our flex items full width, we'd simply need to give that item the full width class. Let's make our fifth item full width. So our fifth item here in the HTML will add in the full width class. As we can see in the browser, items 2 and 5 are now both full width, while the other flex items remain at their original widths and are positioned according to the justify content property. Again, if we reduce the width of the browser, we can see that our items remain flexible inside the parent container. I think that just about covers how to make individual flex items full width. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer as soon as possible. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.